Angel of God, my guardian dear, to whom his love commits me here, ever this day be at my side, to light and guard, to rule and guide. Amen. This prayer is the well-known Catholic prayer to one's guardian angel, and for many Catholic children, it's one of the first prayers they learn, and often prayed as a bedtime prayer. In this episode, we'll trek through the origin of the guardian angel prayer.
God bless America.
God love you. I want these to be my first words of greeting to you. They will be the concluding words on each broadcast.
I am not the Catholic candidate for president. I am the Democratic Party's candidate for president.
Annuncio optis Gaudium Magnum. Habemus Papam.
You've embarked on a Catholic history trek.
Angels play a significant role in the Christian faith. After all, it was a fallen angel who brought sin to the world, and another angel, Michael, who cast that fallen angel from heaven. Angels are frequently mentioned in the Bible. In the Old Testament, angels make appearances in Genesis and Exodus, as well as books of the Psalms, Daniel, Tobit, and Maccabees, among others. The idea that these angels protect both individuals and areas is alluded to in the 10th chapter of Daniel, where angels, who are called princes, are entrusted with the care of particular districts. One of these angels is named the Prince of the Kingdom of Persia, and another, Michael, is listed as one of the chief princes. In the New Testament, this idea of angels protecting individuals takes a more explicit form. In Matthew 18, Jesus tells of how people have angels in heaven. In Acts 12, Peter is delivered from prison by an angel, and in Hebrews, Paul describes the angels as ministering spirits, sent to minister to them who shall receive the inheritance of salvation. While the notion of everyone having a guardian angel has never been officially defined as a dogma of the faith, that tradition is of the mind of the Church. To summarize the New Catholic Dictionary of 1910, okay, perhaps not that new, but this Catholic dictionary defines something to be of the mind of the Church when it is declared by serious pronouncements and taught by approved theologians. So, not as absolute as doctrines like the Trinity or Immaculate Conception, but much more official than theological speculation on things like limbo or the physical location of hell. The classical understanding of the guardian angels is that they protect their charges against the assaults of the demons, to preserve them from sin, and to a lesser degree, at times, they will protect them from bodily harm. To quote a pair of early church fathers from the 4th century on the existence of guardian angels, St. Jerome expressed how great the dignity of the soul, since each one has from its birth an angel commissioned to guard it. And St. Basil the Great declared, beside each believer stands an angel as protector and shepherd, leading him to life. Moving forward a few centuries, St. John Climacus advised, if we detect an angel by the effect he is producing, let us hasten to pray, since our heavenly guardian has come to join us. And St. Bernard of Clairvaux proclaimed, they are our guardians and trustees, appointed and set over us by the Father. While the Universal Church has universally agreed on the existence of these angelic guardians, her members have disagreed on the specifics. The angels are classically divided into a hierarchy of 9 choirs, and theologians have debated whether the guardian angels emanate from the lowest rank, position held by St. Thomas Aquinas in his Summa Theologica, or if they can be from any spot on the hierarchy, a position held by both John Duns Scotus and William Durandus. There's also been speculation whether God provides every soul a guardian angel, or if that privilege is reserved for Christians alone. That's who the guardian angels are, so what about their prayer? The Angela Dei, Latin for Angel of God, was for many years attributed to St. Anselm of Canterbury. This is because the prayer appeared in a collection of his works from this 11th century Benedictine monk. But more recent scholarship discovered this prayer was added to St. Anselm's works sometime after his death, and was more likely inspired by another Benedictine monk of the same era, Reginald of Canterbury. Reginald, like St. Anselm, came from France and ended up in St. Augustine's monastery in Canterbury in the 11th century. Reginald was an accomplished Latin poet whose best-known work is perhaps the Life of St. Malchus, which he composed in 1109. And while our topic is not on St. Malchus, the account of his life is quite interesting and worth a brief detour. St. Malchus was a 4th century monk from Syria and friend of St. Jerome. In 391, a biography was written of his life titled Life of St. Malchus, the Captive Monk. In this biography, we find that Malchus desired to live in Christian chastity, but his parents wished to force him into marriage since he was their only child. To avoid a marriage, Malchus fled home and escaped into the desert of Chalcis, where he found some monks and lived under their direction. After many years, Malchus was overcome with the desire to visit his widowed mother and care for her in her old age. Against the advice of the monastery's abbot, Malchus left the monastery to return home. On the journey home, he joined a group of travelers, figuring there was safety in numbers, but the caravan was overtaken by Saracen raiders, who enslaved Malchus and the other travelers. Despite having been taken deep into the desert and becoming an enslaved shepherd, Malchus found joy in his new life as it allowed him to live the life of a hermit. But this changed when his slave master attempted to reward Malchus for being such a productive shepherd and arranged for him to marry a slave girl. The slave girl and her husband had been captured in the same Saracen raid which had taken Malchus, although the husband and wife were separated during the raid, having been taken by different masters in different directions. Seeking to preserve Christian chastity and her marriage vow, Malchus refused to marry the girl, but this angered his slave owner, who then threatened to kill the both of them. In order to spare her life, Malchus and the female slave consented to be married, but secretly they lived a life in a bond of chastity. Eventually, Malchus and this other slave escaped, and after an ordeal of traveling the desert, being pursued by their master, and saved by a lioness who killed their pursuers, Malchus ultimately returned to his monastery, where he resumed his monastic life. Back to Reginald of Canterbury, in his Life of St. Malchus, he crafted a poetic account of the saint's life. He also included a prayer, which bears a strong resemblance to the Angel of God prayer, which is why some believe Reginald to be the author, as this was where the prayer first makes its appearance in history. The popular English translation of the Guardian Angel prayer first appeared in A Manual of Prayers for the Use of the Catholic Laity, which was prepared by the Third Plenary Council of Baltimore in 1888. The text of that prayer matches the prayer recited at the onset of this episode, although there is one slight variation. If the prayer is said at night, the line, "Ever this day be at my side," is changed to "Ever this night be at my side." This variation is carried over from the Latin, which alternates between Hodie Illumina and Hoc Nocte Illumina. And whether you are listening to this episode during the day or during the night, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to Catholic History Trek. This episode, number 11 in my series on the history of Catholic prayers, was going to be released a couple days before the memorial of the Guardian Angels, October 2nd. But in the past, I have done episodes specific for Halloween, such as the history of Dracula. So I thought with November, the month for the poor souls in purgatory beginning tomorrow, who better to feature than our own guardian angels, who are said to stay with the poor souls in purgatory. And as is my tradition for these episodes, I'll be closing with the prayer featured in the episode. Angela Dei, qui custos es mei, me tibi commissum pietate superna, hodie illumina, custode rege et gerbena. Amen.
Thank you for listening to Catholic History Trek. You can reach us at catholichistorytrek@gmail.com.